Okay folks, welcome to the podcast. My name's Dave and this is Ride and Thrive. I have got a roundup of the first weekend, the first 2 days of the Tour de France 2025, and what an action-packed weekend it's been. That's quite enough of that music, I think. Okay, so where do I begin? So I'm going to begin on day one with the winner, which was Jasper Philipsen from Alpecin-Deceunick. He was a sprinter and it was expected to be a sprinter's stage. However, that is not the full story, because there was a few crashes and there was a few incidents along the way which made it quite entertaining. Now, it was supposed to be a sprinter's stage, which meant there was going to be a bunch sprint with a load of them at the end. However, a couple of members of the peloton decided they were going to try and split the peloton up in the last 17 kilometres. And this was led by none other than Jonas Vingegaard from Visma Lease Bike. He took it on, he split the peloton wide apart, and about 30 or 40 riders got away from the rest in the last 17 kilometres. So that meant that the chances of winning were greater for the ones that were in the split. And it was all really down to Alpecin-Deceunick, who had an absolutely textbook lead out for Jasper Philipsen, who just stormed to the end. There wasn't really any competition for him going over the line. But what it did do, it put some distance between the top couple of riders, which was Vingegaard and Tadej Pogačar, and some of their other main contenders. So Roglic, for example, and Evenepoel were 40 seconds down after the first day because of this. There was a few crashes as well, as I mentioned. Unfortunately for Pipo Ganna, he had a crash and he crashed out because of a concussion, so he was no longer to continue. So that was that's his race done, unfortunately for Ineos. And there was a really quite an unusual incident in a race halfway through the race for points for the King of the Mountains. A couple of riders who had broken away early on, they were going for some King of the Mountains points and they were racing each other quite vigorously. I've got the names down here. Who was it? It was Ben Thomas and Matthias Vircher. So they were racing each other, and their bikes were bouncing all over the place because it was on the cobbles, and they got over the line for the King of the Mountains points. And one of them, I think it was Tomo, just his front wheel just bounced up and he went over and took the other one out. And much to his dismay, and he got up and they were ranting and raving at each other, but it was neither of their fault really. They were just racing so hard on the cobbles. Anyway, that was the end of their breakaway, needless to say. Yeah, so other than that, it was a great day for Alpecin-Deceunick, like I say, textbook, and that led us on then to day two. Now, day two was again supposed to be a sprinter's stage. However, the run-in was uphill, so that meant that maybe not your standard sprinters, but some of the more powerhouses. And it did have Mathieu Van Der Poel written all over this one, another Alpecin-Deceunick rider, and he actually ended up winning it. However, Pogačar did give it a good go again because he's strong at the front. But the attacks were led by Jonas Vingegaard again, so he's looking really strong this year. So we have got Mathieu Van Der Poel in first, Pogačar in second, Vingegaard in third on the second stage, which was ended in Boulogne-sur-Mer. So it's actually quite hilly, and there was a few categorised climbs. So where does that leave us then for the overall standings? Well, Mathieu Van Der Poel has got the yellow jersey leading in to day three. And Jasper Philipsen has got the green jersey, the points jersey. Pogačar is holding the polka dot jersey for what it's worth at the moment. They've only handed out a few points for that. And a guy called Van Gelaan is in the white jersey, which is the young rider jersey. Okay, so on to stage three, which is tomorrow, Monday the 7th of July. And that is, oh here we go, my French pronunciation here. Valenciennes to Dunkirk. Again, this is a bunch sprint, supposedly bunch sprint towards the end. It should be a standard day. It is 178 kilometres, so another long one, and we should see the standard sprinters team hoping to get together in the last 30 k's to make this a bunch sprint. There might be a breakaway, but probably it will be a bunch sprint. The only thing that might throw something into the mix tomorrow is some crosswinds. Now, if there's crosswinds going in, that could mix the whole thing up and it could be a bit of carnage, but we'll have to wait and see. What I'm planning to do is I'm planning to do another catch-up, like a midweek Wednesday catch-up, so the next 3 stages. So tune in for them. I hope you're enjoying these little snippets, these little catch-ups. I'll try and add in a little bit more flavour as we go to make it a little bit more entertaining. Okay folks, thanks for tuning in. I'll speak to you again. Bye for now.